Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to our program today. It's good to have you guys around. Please do me a favor and share this video. Spread it around. We have a very interesting. Oh, sorry, my mic was down. Have a very interesting program for you today. Please make sure that you just help us share this video. Invite your friends. We have very powerful people in our studio today. They're going to be joining us very soon, but please just help me share this video and yeah, share the video. That's all I can say. Share. Those of you watching on YouTube, it's good to have you. Those of you watching on Facebook, it's good to have you. Please leave us a comment and subscribe if you have not on YouTube. But most importantly, share this video. Have I said it before? Yeah, I'm just saying it again. Share the video. We're also waiting for our guests to join us. I wanted it to be on this on StreamYard. I'm coming through StreamYard so that it will be interactive and you guys will be able to ask your questions and our guests can answer it real time. But as we're waiting for them, you can also just go ahead and put your question out there on the comments so that we can begin to get your questions down before they come in. Today, I have three very, very important people as far as the Biafran struggle and IPOB is concerned in Canada. Okay, I'm talking about the past national coordinator of the IPOB in Canada, and the person of Mazi Jerry Okoro. He's going to join us live. I'm also going to have in the studio Nze Timo Kafo, who's also a past national coordinator of IPOB here in Canada. I also have the current um, the current the current okay, sorry, the current national oh the current national coordinator of IPOB in the person of Collins is Collins Ogoke. Sorry, I made a mistake when I was sharing the post. Let me share it where is the present. Do this copy and paste. I did copy and paste, and I did not put Collins as Ogoke very well. So um, okay, one of my guests is having a problem. Let me solve it with him. Um, okay, I'm still hoping to have them joining. As soon as somebody joins, okay, I have the Timo Kafo in the house already. So I'm going to, yeah, Nze Timo Kafo, thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to have you in our midst. Nze Timo Kafo is the immediate past national coordinator of the IPOB in Canada, and during his tenure, there's a lot of beautiful things I must say that he did with the IPOB, and it's quite commendable. I've had you on our show one time, and people were so impressed with the way you conducted yourself and the insights you gave into the operations of IPOB. So it's really a pleasure to have you around.
Thank you.
Okay, Nze Timokafo, I'm just gonna kick this conversation with you. I'm gonna kick it off with you. You have been monitoring what is going on in the southeast and in Biafra land, and how would you describe the conduct of the southeastern governors? You know, both their actions and inaction. How would you describe it?
Well, the topic is so broad. If if one has to start describing their actions or inactions, I'm just going to narrow it down to the present period, in the sense vis-a-vis what the southern governors did, the agreement they had to, for example, ban um, open grazing
Hmm.
in the south. and recommendation that there be ranching, which is the proper thing to do. And secondly, they call for the political class, some of them, the Southern governors called for restructuring. And then at this present time, there's the issue of Mazen Kanu being renditioned, being detained, and this widespread call for his release, his unconditional release. Now, obviously, you can see that other regions are more cohesive. Their, their governors, they seem to have an idea of what they want. Um, they are united going about it. The Southeastern governors have more allegiance to their political party and their political interest, individual political interest, than the collective interest of the region. Uh, we've seen Omahi with his intention probably to be either a VP or something, is looking at the center. It's left a PDP and joined APC. We saw a week ago or 2 weeks ago, he's come out and said Nigeria needs a leader like Muhammad Buhari. And then we've seen Hope Uzodinma after the Southern governors issued a collective communique on a collective decision they made to ban open grazing, saying he is not going to implement that in Imo State, that in fact he's going to allow that to take place in Imo State. So, in all the zones in Nigeria, they seem to be the people misfiring. And Obiano, on his own part, the governor of Imo, Anambra State, uh, which is even surprising because the APC, APGA, don't seem to be forceful in implementing or banning the open grazing. So overall, there's nothing really uh, commendable about their actions. I'd expect them, since they have Eastern Governors Forum, chaired by Umahi, to have a clear vision of what they want and how to go about it. But today, it does seem like maybe they do, maybe they don't, but they don't seem to be cohesive. They don't seem to be speaking the same thing. With respect to Mazen Kanu, we know that across the spectrum, all in the eastern Nigeria, both the politicians um, and the populace at wish that Nande cannot be released unconditionally. The feeling I get is that they're looking at how the bandits, uh, the terrorists from the north, the Boko Harams, are being treated and are accorded some privileges, even taking some of them being taken back to the armed forces, some of them being compensated, some of them being sent overseas for training. And the treatment of our brother Mazen Kanu for, in fact, the arrest is, the so-called arrest is a rendition. It's a violation of international law. So there's a widespread feeling from the people of Southern East that this is injustice, that it should be released unconditionally. And to some extent, I haven't seen any of the governors that come out and say he should die there or he shouldn't be released. But I will take their silence or inaction as a support for the government in the center, because a lot of people have don't know that um, the rendition itself is a violation, and the manner of government not respecting the rule of law, the very laws they make, is also a black eye to Nigeria as a nation. So overall, I will not give them a pass mark. I will not give them a pass mark. But there are some southern governors that are commendable, especially Wike and some of the people from the west, and some of the middle belt governors like Governor Otom, who have stood up for his people and is doing what needs to be done in Nigeria for people to be safe, for people to feel secure. So that is, in a nutshell, what is expect from the governors of the Eastern Nigeria, but they're not doing that right now.
Okay, thank you, Nze Timokafo. Why is this so? Why are our governors? Why is their own different? Why do you think this is happening? Why is it difficult for them to just do something that is very glaring? I covered my face when I saw Buhari in Imo State. I know, yes, in politics, people are loyal, to their party affiliations, but that was like a show of shame for me. The way they addressed the president, the way Hope Uzodinma is going about with the things he's doing. Why is this common with our Southeast governors? Why is this undecisiveness and not knowing exactly what they want when it has to do with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the state of Biafra, and the IPOB and all of those things?
Well, let's think about it this way. Politically, we lag very behind. Politically, political education and followership and discipleship and mentorship are all lacking in Eastern Nigeria. And it's not something that started just yesterday. It started from Zeke. Because after Zeke, the stature of Zeke was colossal. And then who comes next? There was no other people that were coming after Zeke that looked close to Zeke or stature of Zeke. So, majority during the Second Republic, a lot of our people were in MPN while Zeke was in MPP. Well, at that time, the polity of Nigeria was balanced. There were three main regional political parties, one for the West, one for the East, one for the North. It so happened that when the Northern Party is formed, they will have a Northern political presidential candidate, an Eastern vice, and a Western Nigeria party chairman. So there's some sort of a tripod recognizing the three pillars that's made up of Nigeria. So to certain extent, that there will be three people sitting down discussing certain things. That died during Abiola regime when Abiola won an election. For the first time, the party that supposedly won that election had Tony Aneni as the party chairman, and there was nothing from the East. From that period going forward, we didn't have like Eseloga and the Meko for them. Handpicking really people who are going to be either senators or governors. So what did happen from there onward is that power no longer belonged to the people of southeastern Nigeria. Because when they had a political party, they decided who is their senators, who is their governors, who is their House of Reps. Thereafter, as at today, the political machinery they operate, people outside the region determine who is the governor, who is the senator, who is the House of Reps. So power no longer belongs to the people of the region. Power belongs somewhere outside the region. And the political participants understands that for you to get what you want under this current political dispensation, you have to be friend with someone outside the region. In fact, friendship outside the region has become more important than any other thing. So when they look around, they feel like they are insiders and they know how the system works. From what I believe, they are ascribing higher power to or higher importance to the powers that are outside the region than the voters. So What that means is that whoever that decides who is in power somehow influences the decisions of the person that gets to power. So those individuals in place in eastern Nigeria are actually responding to where the source of the power. Now, we've had this argument before, and people confront me and say, why haven't IPOB tried to control their region, their resources, and change within? Obviously, that's their light. That would be the ideal thing to do. If IPOB will transition the energy they have and what they have now to control their region, that would be the first necessary step to actualizing Biafra. You can either do it politically or through war or violence. So at some point, Biafra has to sit down and say, okay, this is what we chose. This is easier than the other one. Both of them are extremely difficult, and I explain to you why. Ojukwu came back from Ivory Coast. MPN went and brought Ojukwu back from Ivory Coast. He was one unifying factor of all Igbos. There was this great euphoria. He was coming back. A hero was coming back. But beneath it, we didn't know he was being brought back to be rubbished politically. So the center understands that this man symbolizes something to the Igbos. So they brought him back primarily to boost MPN and take power from Anambra State, which is the home state of Zeke. But that's all they wanted. They never wanted Ojukwu himself to be a participant. Okay? So, and that war happens when the political machinery, the factory that produces the good, is defective. It produces defective good. So if IPOB were to jump in today, what happened to Ojukwu will happen to them. Because what happened was when Ojukwu came back, they made sure they disgraced him. And then whenever he says something, they say, well, you lost. Your people don't even want you. And once they mess you up politically, the movement dies. So if there's always free and fair election, then that would be the easiest option for IPOB to jump into. Now, another way of solving this problem is leaving the PDP and the APC, which is the machinery of the center, because the Eastern Nigeria is being controlled from outside from these two political parties. There's a lot of recycling. So a group of elite from all sections of Nigeria have come together and enslaving the larger population. Even the people that are there in the East that knows that this is taking place, because they feel comfortable, the things that are coming to them and their family is enough. So that's better for them. So they know they don't want change because change is destroying the status quo that favors them and their family and their generation. So unless you leave these two machinery, and it's in these two machinery that Eastern Nigeria is being remotely controlled, before you get a nomination, and I get to that, the nomination is the key. You cannot win an election unless you're an extraordinary heavyweight like Ifeanyi Oba, Capitaloid. You cannot win an election. At least you have 90% degree of not winning if you contest outside PDP or APC. Okay? So once these individuals go in there and they have what they want and the center set it up, that becomes the insulation between the center and the people. Because the people they put between them and the people are the people protesting the interest of the center. Now, how do we take them out? What will be the best way to take them out, because they are the problem, not really the center. It is these very individuals that are sitting on top of our people that are carrying out what the center does. Now, because there's no machinery to bring people that are pro Biafra or people that are pro the people of Eastern Nigeria, you're left with nothing really. If you go in there and you try to register a political party and they see that political to be pro Biafra, I can bet you they will not be registered. If they register them, they make it extremely difficult for them to field candidates. Will they have enough money and resources to do so? There's a lot of work, there's a lot of logistics, but it's not impossible. But I would expect that when Mazinande kind of comes out of prison, they have to sit down again and have a second look at that option, because it's something at some point. If we can take the risk of setting up ESN and stand up to these bullies, that we can set up something that could stand up and challenge this political system. I tell you example, the Irish Arab Spring. The Arabs, the core right, extreme right Islamic movements had wanted to take power from the sort of government they have in Arab region, and they challenged the U.S. The Muslim Brotherhood fielded a party. They know they have the majority. They went to polls all across and they started winning elections. Okay? But because they know that the Western world had put in military governments or dictators all through the region to make sure that that sort of governance doesn't take place. But they insisted. We saw the uprising. We saw how they won the election, even though they didn't succeed, but they were able to do it. So, what I'm saying is, in a nutshell, that power does not belong to the people of southeastern Nigeria. And you do not expect the benefits of democracy to go to them because they did not put the people that are in power in power.
Thank you so much, Zetimo Kaf. As you would clearly see, somebody said that the reason why they like following this channel is that the level of intelligence of my guests and how they answer questions, clear academic explanations, and not all those swearing channels. Thank you so much. You were very articulate. You were very intelligent in the way you answered questions, and that's always why it's a pleasure to have you around. I'm going to bring in our second guest for the show. He apologizes. Actually, I think I must have sent him a wrong link, but he finally is able to join us. So please, I'd like to welcome in our midst the current national coordinator of the Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB, in Canada, in the person of Chief Collins Ogoke. Chief Collins Ogoke, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you, Dr. Chide, from wherever you are listening from. This is Chief Collins Ogoke. I'm sorry I'm joining late. I have to go for my physiotherapy because I have been down for some time now. So health is wealth.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chief Collins. Now, Chief Collins, I've known you for quite a very long time. There's a noise somewhere. I don't know where it's coming from. So let's check. I hope nobody is turning me on. Okay. So Collins, you're somebody who is very versatile with politics, and you're also versatile with the struggle for the actualization of Biafra. You've been an activist for so long. Now, with all the things that is going on in the Southeast. Let me even start from Imo State. How can you describe all these shenanigans that is going on with politicians in the Southeast? You know, starting from Imo State and then extending to all these other Southeastern governors and the way they've been behaving towards the Biafran struggle.
Yeah, it's very penitent when we sit back and watch what is going on in Imo State in particular and Southeast in general. The fact remains that our leaders in Southeast are not being chosen by the people. For whatever reason, we do not know. It's not that we don't know how to vote or we don't know what is good for us. But unfortunately, our politicians from Southeast are so selfish and self-centered. They think of their family, think of their self, and think of their friends and cronies. And the greatest undoing thing that happened to Igbo land was 1999 back to civilian rule. Because of the long military rule in Nigeria, so many people lost interest in governance. When late General Sani Abacha died, Absalami took over the government. He hurriedly put in place a transition just to pacify the Western countries who needed Nigeria to stabilize because of the death of MKO Abiola, of which we all know the reason. Within this period, a lot of the good people in Nigeria and Imo State and the Southeast in general left the country.
Oh, we can't hear you, Ogoke. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Yeah.
So within this period, few people hijacked the police.
Chief Ogoke, you keep going off and on. No, check your audio. Okay. Anyway, I'm hoping that Chief Ogoke will be able to log back in. He's having a little issue with his network. So it's so amazing that even without being here, Chief Nzeti Mokafo, even without being here to listen to what you were saying, Chief Ogoke went straight. The first thing he said is that our leaders are not chosen by us in Biafra land. Exactly what you had described. Okay, Chief Ogoke, you're back. I was just saying.
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. I was just saying that you were not even here when Nzeti Mokafo was talking, because I was asking him what's the problem with us in the southeast, and then with our governors there, and he revealed something that the leaders in the southeast are not chosen by the southeastern people. It's from outside that they decide the people that are ruling us, and you came exactly saying the same thing. So that is a very, very good revelation that we're getting now, and a big consensus that we're hearing. I'm going to come back to that. So finish what you were saying, Chief Ogoke.
So actually what I'm trying to say before the interruption was that those who emerge as our political leaders in Southeast and Imo State in particular have no business in being governors. So they're just an opportunist. And having hijacked that political system, they tend to keep it forever and ever. And to rattle it out from them would take more than what we are doing. And that is why we are so blessed at this point in time that God brought up a young man in the person of Mazin Nnamdi Kanu, who have done what nobody have done in Igbo land, excluding Ikemba Nnewi Ojukwu. And the same fight Ojukwu fought from 1967 to 1970 is the same thing that is raising its ugly head. The political elites, the political leaders in Southeast and Imo State in particular, we never want such a thing to see the day of the light. What have Nnamdi Kanu done? In Imo State, it's an eyesore that we have young men who came out to defend the killing of their mother, raping of their sisters in their farm. A governor will now come and call the army to kill his brothers. No, can Hope Uzodinma tell us in clear terms why he brought army to Imo State? And what brought about defending of our land? And now some of us are permanently in exile because we have been marked out. Nobody speaks, nobody says anything. He had his stooges all over the place. If you get into Imo State, the next day they trace you in your house and kill you and burn your house. And you want to call us to shut us up. Something must have to be done. Something must have, we cannot remain in exile forever. We have children. Are children going to live in exile forever? Something needs to be done in Nigeria. Nigeria needs to be fixed up. When I mean fixing up, separation, referendum, to attend to all Israel. We cannot be in a country where we'll be slaves forever. What is the percentages of Fulani in Nigeria? People that migrated to Nigeria. In the whole parastatal security apparatus is Fulani. And not all these Igbo elites, Yoruba, they cannot ask questions. Today, in the news, the young man, the former CABN deputy director that opened up how his people are being killed, has been murdered this morning. Do you call that a country? Why are the federal government of Nigeria afraid of referendum? Why is the governor of Imo State afraid of Nnamdi Kanu? Somebody that was imposed to Imo State, somebody that came forth in an election, became a governor. Then come to the grassroots, do what is needful. It's governance. What are the dividends of democracy? We are not seeing it. And people will support such evil nation. I can't understand it. I was a politician, there's no two ways about it. But when we see that things are not happening the way, it's only a fool that will continue doing something all the time and expecting a different result. And that is what necessitated me to pull out and joining Nnamdi Kanu to see that the Igbos will be delivered. The Igbos will be freed every day. All political Igbo leaders are joining APC. And yet, nothing is happening. Those people joining something that is not good, do they have conscience? Please, I'll stop here so far. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Chief Collins Ogoke. Now, Nzetimo Kafo, a lot of people have kind of underestimated the resoluteness of IPOB. And let me say here that whenever I refer to IPOB, I always say this in my show, that there is the IPOB, which is the organization that is led by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and there is IPOB, which is a statement of fact that if you are from the region of Biafra, you are an indigenous person of Biafra. So that's the kind of reference. That's what I mean when I make reference to IPOB. But let me talk about people's underrating of the resoluteness of the indigenous people of Biafra. And having said that, I'd like you to talk a little bit about what they are capable of doing and how long they are willing to remain on this path till they get what they want. Do you think they have the ability to do that, or you think that even with the kidnap of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, that this struggle is over?
Well, good question. You did make mention of two separate definitions of IPOB. The IPOB as a people and IPOB as an organization. Now, IPOB as an organization is the frontline activists that are fighting for the restoration of the sovereign state of Biafra. While the IPOB, the indigenous people of Biafra, is the entire populace of the defunct Biafran Republic between 1967 to 1970. Now, at the current time, the eastern states, or so to say, majority of Igbos have identified more with IPOB than some of our brothers in the old rivers and cross river state. There's a lot of our members, there are members there that are frontline activists for restoration of Biafra. Just like I said before, everything in Nigeria, when the British came, they schooled Nigerians, the elite, the principle of divide and rule or divide and conquer. So, whenever anybody want anything from any region, you just go into that region, find some politicians, give them power, and make sure you retain their allegiance. So, NDCDC or whatever it's called, the Niger Delta Commission, was primarily created to massage the ego of the elite. That's the institution they created so that so long money flows within the leaders of South South, that they find it difficult to join the Biafra restoration. So that is the key thing. So they make sure there's so much money coming that those politicians have to ask themselves, if we agree in Biafra, what does that entail? It entails that these goodies are gone. We can't get these goodies. So 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 they're doing everything possible to make sure, because one of the way to keep these goodies is to keep their part of the covenant. The covenant is make sure your people do not openly come and join the struggle so that you keep getting what you're getting. But that's by the way. Now, the resoluteness of IPOB people is it's very, very clear for everybody to see. Ideology, you cannot defeat an ideology. Let me take, for example, myself.
Sorry, there's a noise. I don't know where it's coming from. So let's check. There's a noise from the background. So let's just check. Okay, but go ahead. Go ahead, Nzetin.
Let me use myself as an example. Before I became an active member of IPOB, I'd always liked the idea of one Nigeria, one big entity. We were taught in international relations that superpowers, we have large population, access to the sea, and aggressive foreign policy. And that when you do have it, if you become this big player, there's so many things that come with it. Like, for example, America. America achieved what they achieved through the barrel of the gun, to the point that today they can print as much dollars, paper dollars, as they want, and the world will be scrambling to have it. They can print it, come to your place, and buy anything they want. That was achieved through the barrel of the gun. They conquered the world and instituted everything. So when you have an aggressive foreign policy, you can bring something more outside to your people. Does that translate to Nigeria? No, it's actually the opposite. There's no benefit of the size of Nigeria to Nigeria. Even the access to seaport, even the people of Southeast bringing goods from Lagos some 7 hours, even though it's 15 minutes away from their backyard. So there's nothing. At some point, I started thinking, what is the benefit of Nigeria to me as an individual? If I carry the green, white, green passport and I go to another country, is it being respected? How is that particular symbol being treated? Do people look at it as dirty people? What is it really? Do people of Nigeria, because of the size, benefit so much from the economy that it's impossible to imagine leaving the Union? And then I begin to think about radical Islam that is sweeping from North Africa, from the Arab region, Middle East to North Africa, through the Sahel and going into Nigeria. And that became the focal point of my decision. Once it got to that point, and I saw that the danger to our people from this civilization is more outweighs more than any other thing because security issues are number one. So when you look from there and you see people who believe ideologically that they have to kill to convert people to their religion, that they can engage in ethnic cleansing, that they can kill mom, children, father, mother, and feel no remorse about it. In fact, believe that God is going to bless them doing so, that becomes a very serious security problem. After 9/11, every Western country has been doing something to minimize the influx of these people to their country, to the extent that Trump came out and said and talked about Muslim ban. Everybody cried. But he was speaking to a section of their populace who is already not comfortable, that are genuinely concerned about the welfare of their citizens because of this wave of civilizational destruction. So in EU, England left EU because they needed to protect their borders. The sort of thinking we're losing control of our space. All these pockets of um, suicide bombing, killing there. The more it pops up, the more people get worried. So that's when I began to think, what do we do to keep this populace, this set of populace, away from our people? How do we, as a people, have our own army to be ready? Because the movement has shown that gradually this thing is coming. We're seeing it already. CIA reports after reports are showing that there's onward movement of the jihadists. If you don't have an army ready, if you can't fortify a city, that becomes a problem. So the more and more, just to tidy up so that the other participants will get involved, what IPOB as a body has done is that through its Biafra radio, we remember how great people do things. The Soviet Union, we know before, the Communist Party, as we know, Lenin, for example, was trained in the West. He had a Western education. He was trained as a capitalist, but he found a system that we know today as communism. So you needed some things. You needed resources, you needed human resources and material resources to communicate an idea to people and put that into action. So what someone first told me that the difference between an idea and engineering is that you can picture a building. It's an idea. Once you build that building, it becomes a piece of engineering. So, but there are things that go into actualize this idea to what we see. So that was the vision Mazin Nandi Kano had. And he went about finding resources to establish a radio, a radio Biafra, to communicate to our people. What that does is he had a platform where he began to explain to people the dangers of the union. He opened up an argument. He opened up a discourse in the entire polity because after the Nigerian Civil War, there was sort of a censor. There are no history being taught in school. It's a crime to utter the word Biafra, not to talk or discuss these things we are discussing today. So that opened up. I have to recognize that there's somebody like Owazurike and people before then that came out and started this particular journey. But he took it to another level. So once he had this bigger platform to reach a lot more people, with the advent of social media, this message eventually started spreading. And the more the message is going to people, the more people are understanding it because now they can relate to this message to what is actually happening in Nigeria. That Nigeria is corruption infested polity in space. That there's nothing really that is positively affecting the lives of the citizens. And therefore, there ought to be a change. Remaining on the status quo, remaining on where we are today, makes no sense to anybody. So once we got to that point, and people are looking, interpreting this message with the reality on the ground, and they're beginning to understand what is what and what is not. So it comes to the ideology itself. So people have become ideologically tied to this vision. So Mazen Nangan has been able to define a vision. You know, people have asked him, this Biafra you're talking about, what will it look like? He has been able to articulate and say, this Biafra is going to be different from this Nigeria you have today. In that Biafra, there'll be prosperity, there'll be meritocracy. People who are actually supposed to be running the institutions and organs of government should be running. So we will employ the best brains, not mediocre brains, because they are born in one state or in one local government, that there will be true federal structure and true democracy, that the dividends is going to be enormous, that the individual lives and people who live in this region will be transformed. All this explanation has gone on to make people believe in this message to the point that they are ideologically tied to it. Now, once you convince people at that point, just like someone convinced a Boko Haram adherent and convinced him that if he does A, B, C, D, he will inherit paradise. So there are people who have said today, we are committed to restoring Biafra, not just for us, but for the people coming after us. Once you're able to get that to that point, that resoluteness can never be in doubt anymore. And that's what you're seeing today. With respect to other people of indigenous people of Biafra, they themselves need nothing more to be convinced that there are people who are not only manipulating but monopolizing not only the political space of Nigeria, but all the benefits. If you go to Nigeria, Nigeria is not built on merit or excellence. Nigeria is built primarily on equity and fairness. And I explain that in 1 second. To average Nigerian, because there's no nation, so to say, called Nigeria, other than there is a collection of nations or kingdoms, so to say, before the British came and marched everybody. So people are tied to their individual tribes or the individual kingdoms before. So, and what happens is they go to the center to fight for resources. And in anything they do, they no longer say, who is the best man to handle this job? One of the greatest authors, Collins, said that the job of a CEO is to get the right candidates, the right personnel to run each and every one position in the company. That's all. Once you're able to get the best engineer, the best driver, your company becomes number one because now you're doing the best all the time. It doesn't happen in Nigeria. What we happen in Nigeria is a place where we say we have to share these positions equally so that everybody will feel happy that they have a piece of it. You know, sometimes we say, oh, Buhari had all these things given to the North. Well, in true democracy, to be fair to him, a president can choose anybody he wants that he thinks can do the job. It's because we don't have democracy in Nigeria that we're so concerned, and we don't have a country. That because we don't have a country, we are so concerned that if people from my own area is not there, then those people can't respect our rights and give us what is due to us. It is defined because there's no existing country. That's why that became a problem. And then they go in the constitution and put what's called federal character. That is promoting mediocrity. Because what that means is that in all aspects of our life anymore, we're no longer choosing the best candidate. Rather, it's an affirmative action. So we're saying if someone that has 20%, but you're from Bauchi State, it has to come in before somebody else. It's even in our law in our country. Now, if you buy a car and you do not run a car based on the manual of a car, that car will not work very well because the Nigerian democracy is not running on the manual of democracy, and therefore you do not expect to have the dividends of democracy. So to in a nutshell, the resoluteness of the Biafrans, as you see today, is because body and soul they've keyed into the message of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. That they understand that it's going to be difficult, but it's doable, and they're willing to last as long as it takes. The larger people of Biafran population are very sympathetic because they are living witnesses to these messages themselves. So there's that support. Sometimes the people who frown at IPOB members are because some IPOB members sometimes become very excessive in the way to talk to people, the way they behave to people. So that's a turn off. Like we said, IPOB is not a perfect institution, perfect organization, but over time they are growing. And I'm pretty sure, just like every civilization, as Mazen Nnamdi Kanu will come out, there will be also more changes in the future until we get a perfect institution that will head us to the new era, which is Biafra.
Thank you very, very much. People may not understand, and guys, just to remind you that we're reaching you from Canada, and the beautiful Canada is a very beautiful place, and there's a way we do things in Canada. Canada has the best part of every country that is mixed together, and it's like when you're cooking soup and you bring all the ingredients from everywhere and you put it in the best ingredients. That's what you find in Canada. And I'm proud to be Canadian. I'm proud to be a Biafran Canadian. So when we speak, because a lot of people are used to a particular way of talking about the struggle. So when you see us in Canada talk the way we talk, you get confused. You're wondering, are these still people who are agitating for Biafra? Yes, it is still the same people. But in Canada, I think we go a little bit more than what other people do. We think deeper. We analyze things. We come from an angle that may not be common with other people. And having said that, before Goke, a lot of people, I always tell people that there is a well-known military strategy or a well-known strategy in fighting, whereby what you want to do is take out the head, and then the followership will be scattered. And I tell people that is the aim of the controllers of Nigeria in arresting and detaining Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. But what I want to hear from you, Mazi Chief Ogoke, I want you to tell people, as somebody who is in the know more than all of us. You are the present national coordinator of the IPOB in the whole of Canada. And so I know that you are connected to the central leadership of IPOB worldwide. With what has happened to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, tell us, is IPOB still focused? Are they still resolute? And are they still, focused on the mission? Because I know it's not everything that they have to say out there in the open, but please help us as somebody who is in the middle of things to understand what is going on now.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Chide. There's one thing very paramount about IPOB and the agitation. IPOB, everybody in southeastern Nigeria is IPOB in spirit. And IPOB emerged as a result of injustice. Injustice to one is injustice to all.
Yeah.
When Abiola won a free and fair election in 1993, and for whatever reason, the Born to Rule in Nigeria canceled that election. Not only they canceled it, they jailed him. Not only they jailed him, they killed him. That's an injustice. What did they do? They brought another Yoruba man and made him a president. In Nigeria, you are made president, you are made governor, you are made senator. You don't win election. Understand that word, made him president.
Yeah.
And the people of Abiola ethnicity, they jump up and laugh. The injustice was not corrected. Obasanjo was not the choice of Yoruba people, where MK Abiola come from. It's an injustice. Use and dump syndrome in Nigeria. Soro Wiwa was used, made a federal commissioner against his people, Eastern region. Remember those who ride on the back of tiger. Once the tiger is hungry, it will take you up. How was Soro Wiwa killed and disgraced? And acid was even poured on him. It goes and goes. Leto Kadibo was vice president to Muhammadu Buhari. They went on protest. The SSS went and sprayed him tear gas, knowing fully well he has ill health. He died.
Yes.
Nothing happened. During the Nigerian Civil War, it was the Middle Belt Gowon junta used to crush Biafra. Today, the Middle Belt are paying dearly for it. Theophilus Danjuma single-handedly killed his boss, JTU Aguironsi, who did not participate in the coup, who was mapped out to be killed. But by providence, he survived. Theophilus Danjuma was proud that he killed his boss. Today, Theophilus is now saying the federal government military army, they collude. They are not colluded. The evil that men do, live with them. When that civil war was prosecuted between 1967 and 1970, no Fulani was the foot soldier. They are all general. The foot soldiers were the Middle Belt. Today, they are paying dearly for it. I'm not saying that we should visit evil with evil, but let us be mindful what we do, because it will catch up with us. So, Nnamdi Kanu being incarcerated as today will not stop the agitation of freedom. Get it very correct. IPOB is all about what? Freedom. Give us referendum. Let us decide, do we still want to belong in this contraception called Nigeria? Because none of us, we are party to that amalgamation of 1914. How can you impose something on me I do not need? You were married, and there's problem in that marriage. What is the best way? It's either death or separation. Do we want to die? We said no. We protest with flag. They kill us. We sit at home. You said we should come out. What do? Instead for you to come out and you'll be killed, you better sit at your home. Then if you think what you're doing is right, do the needful. If Nigerian federal government are sincere Let them conduct referendum. United Kingdom, Britain conducted referendum that they don't want to belong EU. Britain, why is it difficult for you not to support Nigeria to conduct referendum? Let us decide. Those who want to stay in Nigeria should stay in Nigeria. Those who want to live will live. Why should we be slaves in our own country? You see, that is why it's not good to support evil. Today, Muhammad Buhari did a protest with majority of our brothers from the Southwest. Nobody shoot them. Nobody disrupted them. We heard that Falana said that he was the one who went to court on behalf of Muhammad Buhari pro bono to get a clearance that you are entitled to do a protest. Today, people are protesting, people are being killed. Now, the issue of Tinubu, who brought, with his Yoruba clique, who brought Buhari to position, they are nowhere to be found again. Now, the latest news we hear that now, the same APC is romancing with Jonathan, whom they removed, clawless, call him all sorts of names. They are romancing with him now to come back. Buhari has no certificate. And the INEC constitution is that you must present your certificate. But Yoruba lawyers, about 38 or 100 in number, went to defend somebody they were asked to bring certificate. And you went to court. What did you go to court to do? Abba Kere has a problem with the United States. 38 northern lawyers came to defend him. But you can use the whole money to bring Nnamdi Kanu down to Nigeria. When you went to kill him, and he ran away. Look at the energy they spent fighting, looking for Ibohu, who is defending his people. But the Boko Haram were all going about killing people. Gumi can come out to tell you that at Boko Haram, they've been bandits, were only kidnapping people to collect money. But kidnapping is an offense. Evans is today facing kidnapping charges. And Gumi will come on air to tell us that they only do kidnapping and collecting money. Look at the northern governors romancing with bandits, herdsmen, and whatever. And you are talking of Nnamdi Kanu being incarcerated will stop the agitation of IPOB. Foul. There's a stage in man's life. He preferred death than be alive and be a slave. I can give myself as an example. The worst thing you can do is to hold my wife and my precious daughter to hostage, and I'm alive. I better die. So IPOB Resolute members will not stop till we get what? Referendum. Killing Nnamdi Kanu, keeping him there, will not stop it. The killing of Yusuf stopped Boko Haram. It did not stop Boko Haram. So let Nigerian government do the needful. I don't want to marry again. Not be problem. Oh. As Nigeria stay today, oh, now we're not there together. Oh. Make we talk. Oh. Make everybody hear them. To attend, oh Israel. Any Igbo man from the southeast having the notion that going to conduct election in southeast with the present situation, better think twice. They should better think twice. Let us leave the Nigerian government. What of our governors and political elites in the southeast? Look at how bad. There's a video we saw, bad road between Oka and wherever. We have governors. We have Obiano. We have Ubanya. No road. Look at Imo State. Look at Abia. And we are talking of election. There will be no election in Igbo land unless Nnamdi Kanu is out. 2, there must be referendum. The federal government better get it clear, and political elites in Igbo land better get it clear. Us in IPOB, we have sacrificed. It's either referendum or we'll go to our grave. So when a man have got to that stage, you don't joke with him. I have nothing to live. I'm almost getting to 60 years. So what else? If I have not actualized my dream by this time, then I'm not successful. So you're thinking that holding Nnamdi Kanu will stop agitation in the Igbo land for referendum? You better think twice. It will continue till you now come and kill everybody. It's a signal, it's a watchword we are giving out. Releasing Nnamdi Kanu unconditional because you have done nothing. There are people who don't worse thing that are even going on the streets. What has he done? He's asking for freedom. Now he has been in detention for some weeks. People are saying Nnamdi Kanu, the way he's doing it is not the best way. Since he's in detention, have you come out and do it your own way? Yes. Have that problem he's fighting for, have it been solved? Going to Abuja, share money, bring. Killing Imo State people, Imo State youths will not solve this problem. But he who killed to get to the top should know that death awaits him there. Soldier come, soldier go, barracks remain barrack. Let us go to the root cause of problem in Nigeria. Before the military coup of 1966, we have 3 regions. We more or less running federal confederation. It's this malicious, devilish constitution of 1999 Abacha wrote for succeeding of himself. Go and look at the whole things on concurrent list. We are moved to exclusive lists. And that power was given to such constitution for a dictator. And Abu Salam refused to call for constituent assembly for them to decide the constitution they want to move in the next dispensation. What he did was to impose that constitution on Obasanjo, their puppet. Obasanjo came in and saw it that the president has enormous power. What he did was to plan for 3rd term. For the fact that he's not the dictator of that constitution, the Hausa people do what they do, they know how to do. Because when Fulani wants to get the lion's share, it became Hausa Fulani. Now they have found their way. It's no longer Hausa Fulani again. Then they stop Obasanjo at all costs. Obasanjo saw the defects of 1999 constitution, but he thought he's going to use it to his own advantage. See where we are today. Because if PDP then had the majority people in both House of Reps and the Senate, he could have corrected this thing to know that so many things were removed from concurrent list and put in the exclusive list to president. He could have changed it. I will call for constitution conference, but he never did. Because of his selfishness, that's the same problem all political elites in Nigeria have. Selfishness. All their children in abroad study. Then the masses are suffering in Nigeria. When he pleases them, it becomes connection. But when then he did not please them, it becomes corruption. Buhari was shouting corruption, corruption, corruption. Mr. Do It Right, he has not come in as a president. The greatest, worst corrupt regime is Buhari. I'm very happy Babangida said it. So many things are happening during his regime, more or less that, well, he's not in charge, he's not in control. So please, to answer your question, IPOB is not going to stop till we have referendum. IPOB has gone past Nnamdi Kanu. The fact there's something Nnamdi Kanu will say, people will look at it, it's not for our own benefit. They will say no. But we believe in him, and he's leading us well. So let Nigerian government do the needful and call for referendum, releasing Nnamdi Kanu unconditionally. The Igbos have suffered in Nigeria country, and we don't want it no more. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much, Chief Ogoke. You see why I brought, and I've tried in all ways to drag something out. But I'm glad that it's people will not understand. I didn't have a long discussion with my guests before this meeting. In fact, it was so impromptu. I just told them yesterday. The reason is because, social media is a very funny place. And the people who do more, they talk less. But there are charlatans all over social media. They just carry news about something going wrong in IPOB, this person broadcasting, this person DOS, this person money. And that seems to be louder out there in social media than the real thing. So the main reason why I brought you men here, and I want to apologize on behalf of Maazi Jerry Okoro. You guys saw he tried several times to log in, but he's having some technical problems. Maybe I'll have another interview with him personally. I wanted people to see that people like you who were national coordinators and you who is the president, national coordinator of IPOB. I wanted people to hear the way you talk and the way you reason, and to see that your focus, your interest is not on all the shenanigans that people are spreading all over the place. You guys are working, steadfastly in the background, doing the needful, making the necessary consultations. And that is what is more important. So, as we begin to close, I want you gentlemen to please talk to our people who like to focus on he said, she said, they said. I don't think they fully understand what the struggle is all about. I think they are too flippant. As one of my friends will say, Chidi, please, you do not need to be engaged in civilian activities. We are in the middle of a warfare, and nobody should be behaving like civilians. So please, I need you guys to talk to our people. Anybody who thinks it has anything to do with this struggle, either you're an activist, either you are boots on the ground, either you are somebody on the barricade, either you are campaigning through social media, you have a platform, I want you to please advise them on what to say and how to help this agitation, because a lot of them, their activities are not helping at all. Starting with you, Nze Timoka, for your closing remarks and your advice to anybody who is involved in this agitation, because people keep asking me what's the way forward. Thank you.
Thanks, Doc. I like to separate Biafra and the IPOB because they're two different things. I'm pretty sure more than 98% of people of Southeast believe in Biafra. There might be pockets of people who are either registered members of political party, friends and families of politicians, or people who had some issues with some IPOB family members who are on the other side. Okay, so that's just by the way. But I like to remind people that Biafra is the destination because Nigeria is not working. It hasn't worked. It's not behaving like it's going to work tomorrow. We need a country because we don't have a country today. And a country is simply when people just take taxes from A, B, C, D, put the money together, build road, provide electricity, and then let the ingenuity of the people propel them to prosperity. We have in abundance human resources that can make one of the greatest countries in the world. And therefore, we are more than qualified and capable to have a nation. So that's settled. Um, and then you come to IPOB, the organization that I used to be the national coordinator. Now I'm just a member. National coordinator is there. It's not like I said, this organization is not perfect. It's made up of me, you, okay, and John and Ndubisi. A lot of the people working for it are volunteers who are not being paid. Now, from where we come from, we are not from a society that is not civilized, a society that is not educated, a society that is not egalitarian, a society that is core capitalist. So they're always going to be bound, there's always going to be divergent views, opinions, behaviors amongst the group. Now, that there are some disagreements or discordant tones here and there does not define the movement. Because in the life of a movement, in the life of a country, in the life of a people, such things happen. It's normal. It can be explained normally. So, and then you have the issue of social media, like you said. People go out there, some people willfully send out distorted information. Enemies are within, and they're sending out things that seems to be making people have this wrong impression. But the fact of the matter is that there's a defined leadership in IPOB. It has a principle of command and control. And that's very simple. So you can see the leadership. It's visible. It gives us instructions. Sometimes we find these pockets of um, servants, people who are within it that have disagreement. One of the worst things that has happened with just like everything that have advantage has disadvantage is the social media. Sometimes in internal issues of IPOB are being discussed, people recording videos or audios and putting out in the public. It's something Mazinande kind of when it comes out at some point has to address. When I was the national coordinator, I brought it up with him. It's not good when principal servants go on internet and begin to discuss things that should have treated internally being done in the open. Every institution, every government, US government, everybody, there's always an internal argument and disagreements. How you handle it and communicate to the world and to your members defines how good you are. So there are, to be honest with you, I'm not going to call out anything here. There are certain things we need to address. But the overall picture being painted as if there is some level of chaos or disagreement is not true because we know who the leaders are. And those leaders to issue statements, and those statements are the only statement we can attribute to IPOB. Now, in terms of broadcasting, it's broadcasting. In Biafra, there's going to be a free press. People are about to say different. I've had different opinion about what Mazen Nandekano said. Because he's my leader doesn't mean that we share 100%. But when he makes a pronouncement as the leader of indigenous people of Biafra, it becomes a policy. I have to fall in because that's the way organizations are run. When an organization and institutions comes out after discussion, after debate, and adopt a policy, it becomes the overriding policy of all. So we are all together. It becomes a collegiate decision. We are all in together. Or at that point, all you need to do is to make sure you support the policy so that it works. Your divergent views are no longer relevant. So while I'm using this opportunity to talk to our people, our Biafrans, our members of IPOB, to please listen to the constituted authority, no matter how wise you are. It is not the wise. When I was the national coordinator, I wasn't the wisest. I wasn't the most educated. I wasn't the most resourceful. It so happened that by coincidence, I was asked to do a job. Respect the office where I sit. Do not respect me individually, but respect that office. If in the dispensation of that office, we come up with a policy, respect that, key into that, because you have to be a team member. We win together, we lose together. Once you begin to have divergent behavior from what is agreed as an institution, then you are failing already. So to answer your question, there's a lot of this exaggeration. There's a lot of misinformation. IPOB is one indivisible entity that is clear in its objective ambitions. Its leadership is focused, and the result will come eventually. The people in Biafra, with respect to Home, our leader, which is right now the second in command, Chike Doziem, have come out and issued several statements, even from, Emma Powerful. Those statements are statements on record. We must at all times obey this leadership. There's a reason why they are the leaders. We can sit down where we are and think whatever we think, but people sat down, debated, had arguments as to where to lead you, and they made that decision. That's all I'm going to say. So it's not out of place to have disagreement, to have divergent opinion, but at the end of the day, common sense prevails. At the end of the day, decorum prevails. At the end of the day, the structure remains. And that's the only way forward.
Thank you very much, Mr. Timo Kafo. That was very, very precise and very powerful. Now, Chief Collins Ogoke, the National Coordinator of IPOB Canada, please, I want you to address our people.
Yeah, thank you once more, Dr. Chide. IPOB is not divided. Much as we have different opinion, we have a leadership, and we are all allegiance to that leadership of Mazin Nnamdi Kanu, being represented today by Mazi Chika Edoziem. Much as we have indiscipline, you cannot say you will be in a structure that wouldn't be indisciplined. But one thing stands very clear. When instruction is given, which if you is disciplined, you will follow the instruction. IPOB is command and control. There's no two ways about it. If you don't like, you resign, you get off, another person takes over. That is it. The only thing that remains permanent is change. Despite that, nothing more. So our way forward, listening to Mazi Chike Doziem, he will never lead us astray. They have director of states. He doesn't make that opinion by himself. He have other people, he consults widely with other political stakeholders in Biafra before he come up with a decision that he passed on. And when he passed it on to all other segments, everybody should queue, listen, and move on. There will be distractions here and there, but we are resolute, praying to Chukwu Abiyama. At the end, success will be ours. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. That was short and direct. And on that note, I want to thank you, gentlemen, for not disappointing me and for the interest of everybody. Just to remind you that my guests have been Nze Timo Kafo, who is a community leader here in Canada. He's been he's held so many positions, including the president of the Anambra Association. Here is a chartered accountant and a very resourceful person. I've known him for years. And it's a pleasure to really have him come and speak to us. These are very refined, intelligent people. And also, Chief Collins Ogoke, who just spoke right now, is someone who, if you know him, you know that he's someone of timber and caliber. When it comes to politics, he knows it like it's in the fingers of his hands. He knows everything about Nigerian politics, Biafran politics, Canadian politics, and he's an activist to the core. And by listening to them, you will agree that these are very sound people. They don't make so much noise. That's what I was trying to bring out here. You would, by listening to them, understand how stable, how sure-footed IPOB is. The only thing that has happened is that Nnamdi Kanu is in incarceration, but so much is going on behind the scenes. And I had to bring people like this to inspire you, to encourage you to remain resolute in your belief for freedom and fairness in that contraption called Nigeria. Gentlemen, once more, I'd like to thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for always honoring my request. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, guys, this is where we're going to end this show. I'd like to thank you all for always supporting us. I'd like to thank you all for staying on the show. Please like us if you have not liked us, subscribe to our channel, and help us share this video. It is important that you share this video because that will help those of us who are jittery about what is going on. Those of us who are influenced by all the news that's flying back and forth. This person is dead, that person is not dead, that person is removed, that person is this. No, 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 no. That is just social media. This is the real deal. So please, it is important that you spread this video to other people to encourage those who their heart is failing to know that no, the struggle is still on course. From all of us here in the Toronto studios of Worship Media TV, on behalf of Dr. Erica, I'd like to thank all of you and to ask you to continue to support us. Take care of yourselves and bye-bye.